The C value is a horizontal translation. It moves things left and right. This is exactly like our first chapter where we just move things left and right. So in A, what's the phase shift? Remember, X is our liars, so when we say pi over 6, we'll be right or left. It'll be with the minus, opposite direction, you will go pi over 6 to the right. Then so if we have our regular coast graph, I'm going to draw that first just to get really good. Here's y equals cos of x. 2 pi divide into 4 equal sections, label them, cut in half, 3 of them, just your axis family. Coast graph starts at a maximum, center line, minimum, center line, maximum. Then if I wanted to graph, and I'm going to graph this one, usually I like to graph things on separate ones, but this time I'm going to graph it on the same one, just change colors. I want to shift pi over 6 to the right. Let's just do a little bit of thinking in degrees. Pi over 6 is 30 degrees. Pi over 2 is 90 degrees. Does it make sense to you that pi over 6 would be a third of this? Okay? So I'm going to shift this point over a third. I'm going to go and mark that distance over on each of my original 4 axis family points. This point then is going to jump to there. This one on the center line is now going to jump to there. This minimum is now going to jump to there, to there, and to there. And instead of having to do all 5 points and label them, if you just label the very first one, pi over 6 to the right, and use that same spacing all the way through, you'll be able to quickly graph every shift. So one of the things we're going to use as a shortcut is we're going to graph things without the shift first, and then just move it over a little bit at the end. It's going to be the last thing that we do when we graph. Now, technically, this is actually a pet peeve of mine. That makes me frown a little bit. Because technically, I should lose a half a mark for my graph. Because they said only graph it between 0 and 2 pi. And I put arrowheads on mine, and I kept on going. I graphed too much, so they should take off a half a mark. So I should probably take out an eraser and be like, okay, I have to erase this part because it's only supposed to start at 0. And then I get to 2 pi, and I'm supposed to erase. This would be the right answer, from 0 to 2 pi. Okay? On your final exam for sine and cosine graphs, they almost, I can't say never because you never know what's going to happen, but they generally don't put a domain. They generally say for at least 1 period. So then you can add the arrowheads on the end and just keep on going. It's nicer that way. They have some in the textbook that are really bad. So for all of your homework, like for 3, E, and F, if you draw at least 1 period, if they give you